Hello, all of my wonderful geometry students. So today we're going to go into negations, converse, inverse, and contrapositive of conditionals. So we've already talked about conditionals a little bit, and remember that's like an if-then statement. And now we're going to talk about how we can sort of manipulate them in order to change them around a little bit. So it's going to be kind of mostly just vocabulary today, so it's not going to be a very long video. And then tomorrow in class, we'll be able to practice with this vocabulary a little bit more in depth. So what I'd like for you to be able to do is to define and write negations, converses, inverses, and contrapositives by the end of this set of notes. So first of all, what is a negation? A negation is to say the opposite of a conditional. Or the not of a conditional. So let's see that put into action right fast. So we have the statement, Charlie is a horse. To say the opposite of that, or to completely negate it, we say Charlie is not a horse. Another statement, Charlie has 4 legs. To do the negation of that way, we say Charlie does not have 4 legs. Alrighty, so now you've seen the negation part. We also have 3 more ways that we can change around a conditional. So remember, a conditional is like if P then Q, where P represents the hypothesis and Q is the conclusion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a conditional just so you can kind of see this in action. So here is our original if-then statement. You can use anything you want. This is just what I chose. So it says, if mom makes cake, then it is Sunday. So here is our hypothesis. If mom makes cake, in the conclusion, then it is Sunday. Our original conditional. There are 3 ways that we can sort of switch this around. The first one is the converse. The converse of a conditional is when you flip-flop the hypothesis and conclusion, or when you exchange or flip the hypothesis and conclusion. So if we were to look at our original example up here, it would look like this. If it is Sunday, then mom makes a cake. Okay. Now let's look at an inverse. So an inverse is when you make both the hypothesis and conclusion negated. So you're going to put not in there twice. So it says, I'm going to write that definition first actually. It's when you make both the hypothesis and conclusion negated. Alrighty, so if we were using our original example up here, right here, this is what we're going to flip-flop around with our inverse now, or to switch around with our inverse. So it will be, if mom does not make a cake, then it is not Sunday. So notice how we just negated the hypothesis and the conclusion, and that was it. The contrapositive, which is the last way that we can switch these phrases around, is by negating both the hypothesis and conclusion and swapping the hypothesis and conclusion. So instead of writing that all out, I say it's the converse negated. So we already know that the converse, based off of this definition, is when you switch the order of the sentence. Now, just put a not in both of those, and then you have the contrapositive. So let's go ahead and do that. If it is not Sunday, then mom does not make a cake. And that's it. So something I do want to inform you, because we are switching the order of our phrases around quite a lot, this will also change the truth value of our examples. So don't forget about that. I'll just make a little note. Truth values may change. And that's kind of important. So what I mean by that is maybe your first sentence is true, and then your second sentence becomes false, and then this one's true, and this one's true also. It's all according to whatever example you're using, but you do want to be mindful if you're asked about a truth value on a question on your homework or a test. Just because the original is true does not mean that after we manipulate the phrase, it's going to stay that way. So just be mindful of that. So this is the end of our notes. That's basically just vocabulary and then putting that vocabulary into practice. So a short set of notes. If you have questions, I'll be sure to answer them tomorrow. And we'll also be practicing with this tomorrow to kind of help you remember all these new words. But until then, bye.